Welcome back, everyone. I'm Zell, and it's time to find out what's inside the Bestech Tercel. Now, this is a representation of what's going to be inside the three Bestech Titanium and S35VN knives. I fully suspect that they're all the same from getting a look at them, so let's get into it. Alright, it appears we've got the same T6 screws that were in the Kendo when we took it apart, so let's see. Yep, and they are good screws. They're not the best I've ever seen, but they're definitely good, and Bestech is using some blue Loctite, which, you know, that's okay. Now, we do have this rather snazzy pivot over here. But let's see if we can loosen this guy up, and I want to see if it spins. It is not spinning so far on the back side, and the nickel seems to be kind of working. Okay. Yeah, it is working. Nickel is it's pretty snug in there, so hopefully we're not messing up the prettiness of that pivot too badly. We'll look at it whenever we get it out. Alright, now there's a bunch of Loctite down in there. But there you go. The nickel got it out, and we didn't goof it up. It still looks pretty good. Alright, so let's get it open and see if we can get this scale off. That's always up. It's going to come off. There we go. So, internal milling, very nice. It's dirty. Now, I've carried it some, but wow, it's got some sticky, goopy. All right, it's time to get that mat out again. So, give me just a moment, guys. I don't want to goof up our leather too bad. It's already been chewed up some. So, we're going to use the back side of this gun cleaning mat just to save our leather for the pretty parts of the video. And our construction is very much the same as our G10 knives. We'll lift the blade out of there, the pivot out of there, and that pivot is free spinning. That's interesting, unless they're using... No? So it is another free spinning pivot. That's a problem. Something that Bestech needs to... they need to do something about, because the free spinning pivot's just, well, you guys know it's an issue. Pull our stop pin out, knock that bearing out, get our little bushing out of there, because that's all dirty and nasty down in there. Bestech's using a really kind of a thick grease on these, which is okay. It's not my preference on a knife like this, so we're going to get some just regular alcohol out and clean these things up. Get them all nice and shiny and no sticky anymore. Now, overall, and we've even got milling over here. That's freaking beautiful. Now, we've got sleeves there in the titanium, so we're not tapping into the titanium, which can be a problem on some knives. Take them apart too often, the titanium or aluminum that some knives tap into will just give way, and that's never good. So let's see if we can get this cleaned out. Yeah, I think it come out pretty clean. Get the other side. All right. Pivot cleaned off a little bit. Pull that collar out of there because there's crap down in there too. Now, I don't know if that came in the knife, and I won't be able to find out because I've carried all of these knives a little bit. But I can't imagine me getting them that dirty that quickly. So there's a little bit of ick in them from the factory, which is not abnormal. I've had ZTs that just look like they were ate up inside, and some more expensive knives. Alright, so there we go. Let's get a close look at what we've got here. We've got a lock bar insert, ceramic detent ball. We've got some internal milling here, and we've got a back spacer that's very snugly fit. I'm not going to be able to get that off without loosening those other screws, which we're not going to do. It's well put together. That free spinning pivot's a problem. Bestech should know that. But if they didn't know it, now they do. Other side, we've got some very nice milling in here. We even got, they've left a little bit of the mill texture. Let's see if I can get you focused on that. Probably can't see it, but there's some of the mill texture left there. So, very nicely done. And the texture, the mill texture is left is very fine texture, so it's all good. It's not a problem. The blade, well done. They, of course, goofed up a little bit back here at your plunge, grind, ricasso area, but that's average for just about any brand of knife. And everything appears to be cut well, chamfered well. Very nicely done. So, let's see if we can get it back together without big issues. Let's slide our pivot through. And some of these videos I've said to put the bearings where this faces, or where this faces the blade. Well, in this case, we have no counter bore on the blade. Blade has no counter bore in it. The counter bore is in the scales. So in this case, we're going to drop just a little bit of 10-weight oil in 2 or 3 spots, maybe 4 spots, just little dots on that bearing, and then we're going to drop it in this way. Actually, we're going to knock it back out because we forgot to put the little washer in there. Now that we've got the washer in, we can drop the bearing in with the open side of the race facing down. This again is to keep as much crap out of that bearing as possible. And from there, we'll see if we can stick our blade back in here with the lock, or with the stop pin in, blade in, good fit there. Now let's see if we can get this side to line up. To get this side to line up, sometimes, there we go, you have to let that lock bar loose so that you can get it all centered up there. And you know, we forgot to put the bearing in again. You guys need to remind me of this stuff. You know I'm forgetful. So we want the bearing with the open side of the race up here, so it'll go into the handle scale where it's counterbored. So there we go. And we do want to, and I forgot this, didn't I? You guys should really be getting on to me. That 85 weight that we normally put down in our pivot hole, detent hole. We just want that right down in there, and from there it'll dip in there and it'll spread it throughout everything. So now we can put her all together because we've caught up with everything that I missed. If I can get it all together. That bearing down in that way, handle in there, this bearing in this way, this bushing needs to go over this bearing. Did I get it all that time, guys? And then we can put the handle scale over, and there we go. And put this little guy in, our little collar, and hand run down our pivot screw this time, as far as we can anyhow, because of that free spinning pivot. And then get our frame screws in. Well, let's get that pivot in just a little further. I want it down in that collar before we deal with the frame screws. Alright. Now, get our frame screws in. You know, and here's the deal with Bestech. These knives are going together like they should. They're going together like a Beg or a Wee or a Riot. No problems. The screws are nice and deep and doing their job just the way they're supposed to. Now this free spinning pivot, as you saw if you watched the disassembly of that kendo, can be problematic. But that doesn't matter who does it. ZT's been guilty of that in the past. So has Kershaw from the same company, Kai Industries. I'm sure Spyderco's done it, but that seemed to work. It didn't seem to give me a hard time. So we'll see what we've got. So we're all centered back up. Good action. No play in any direction. So the free spinning pivot, even though I don't like it, did not give me a problem here. And that's what's inside your Bestech TI knives currently. And that goes for this knife, which is the Tercel. It goes for the Dolphin and the Predator. All those knives are going to be assembled pretty much the same. These two, almost exactly the same. This one has a little spool back here, and that's going to be the major difference there. So we probably won't take apart the other two currently. I just wanted to see what was in them, and I don't know. Yeah, our 10-weight oil did make a difference. Now, almost too much of a difference. This thing's going to turn into a guillotine. Maybe that heavier weight oil was a good idea. Anyhow, guys, that's what's inside the Bestech Tercel, Dolphin, and Predator. Even though we didn't take the other two apart, the internals are pretty much exactly the same. So you guys have a great day. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.